Welcome to the Kinda Crunchy podcast, where we talk about all things health and wellness. We can't wait for you to hear today's episode, so let's get to it.
Hi guys, welcome back to another week of Kinda Crunchy. My name is Jensen.
I'm Rachel.
And we are happy that you're here to join us for another episode. We are quickly approaching our 1 year. I think it might be one or two more episodes. It'll be 52, which we have not missed a week. I just have to give ourselves some credit because that's really hard to not miss an entire week, especially when you live 4 hours apart and both of us seem to have just wild lives and things going on. So yeah, I'm just pumped that it's almost been a year. But before we get into this episode, let's just talk about life. So Rachel, tell us what's been going on. How have you been?
Yeah, I'm just going to give us a pat on the back too about making it a year of podcasting because I think it's literally a huge statistic. I don't quote me on this, but 80 to 90% of podcasts don't make it past 1 year. So we're in the top 10%.
Heck yeah, we are.
Look at us.
Go us.
But life update. Yeah, I got back from Florida at the beginning of this week. We went away over Groundhog Day in Punxsutawney, which we've done the past few years, which I was just sharing with Jensen. I was like, I want to stop going away over Groundhog Day because I actually want to be here for Groundhog Day and get into it and enjoy it and be around while all this stuff's happening in town. But it's always nice in the winter to go somewhere warm and just get some sunshine and feel human again after it. So, yeah, we went down to Florida. It was only a few days. I got to lay by the pool and get some nice sunshine and read books. And the place we go to makes these pina coladas, which, I'm not a drinker, so I don't get alcohol in them. And they're just so good. They're just delicious. And they put whipped cream and this little cherry on them. So I had many of those. And we went to Universal Studios the one day.
Oh.
Last year we went to Disney and this year we went to Universal. I had never been to either. So I think it was kind of just a first time thing. It was very expensive, both Disney and Universal. And I'm a Cedar Point girl, in my heart. They have the best roller coasters and I like riding roller coasters and it's much closer. So I'm glad I got the experience of going both to Disney and Universal, but next year, I'm going to take a break from the amusement parks. It is just exhausting. You're there all day. You're trying to do everything. You're waiting in lines. There's such big crowds. And we even tried to avoid a weekend, but it was still very busy. And yeah, it was good. It was a cool experience. We went to Harry Potter World and everything. I've never read or seen Harry Potter at all.
Oh. Did you have butterbeer when you were there?
I did, and I really liked it. I like butterscotch.
I do too, yeah.
I had no idea what it even was, and I got it, and I was pleasantly surprised. But yeah, so it just, for me, I don't watch the Marvel stuff. I haven't watched anything at Universal that there's a world for. I probably haven't seen actually. So it wasn't as geek out of a moment as maybe it is for other people. We rode some of the rides and it was fun, but yeah, Logan got to golf twice, so he was super happy about that. And we just relaxed and ate out every single night.
That's the best part of vacation. You're just you know what? We can go out to dinner each night. It's fun to experience new restaurants and try new things.
Definitely. This is totally not crunchy, but our last night there, my dinner I ordered was mozzarella sticks and cheesecake. That was my entree. So
I love that for you.
Because it was something I never get and I and I know that's not healthy. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to mix and match here. It's that's why I love brunch because you get lunch stuff and breakfast stuff. I just decided to do it for dinner. So yeah, we had lots of fun, mini golfed a few times and happy to be back in routine. And it's gorgeous here. Sunny and beautiful, nice but it was nice to be down there and be able to lay poolside and just enjoy the nicer weather.
Oh, I love that for you. Logan's going to Florida next week for
nice.
Only 2 or 3 days. It's for a conference for work. And I was supposed to potentially go with him, but I feel life was just kind of crazy in February. And now looking at what our February is looking like, I'm glad I'm not going. But the sunshine and warmth does sound nice. So, but yes, you must come to Groundhog Day next year. You need to experience the whole, you are a Punxsutawney,an if that's even a
I
word.
it's been since high school
Yeah.
when I was a fillet dancer. That's
Oh,
the last time I was at the Knob.
you were the star.
I wouldn't quite go that far. I probably had the least dance skills. I just brought energy.
You always bring energy. Well, that. Do you have any more life updates?
No, that's really it. We just had some vacation time. I got some good reading done, and yeah, now just back to the everyday hustle and bustle. What
Back to
about
the
you?
grind. Well, your life update about wanting to experience Groundhog Day leads into my life update, which was I did experience Groundhog Day. Um,
Not for the first time, though.
Not for the first time, no, but I was with people that did experience it for the first time, and it's so much fun to see it through the eyes of people that like have never seen it before. Okay, I'm going to take a minute or two and explain to you what actually happens on Groundhog Day because I get asked all the time, wait, so like what actually happens? Like, and if you've seen the movie, it's all in this cute little town square. That's false. Couldn't be more false. It's in the middle of the woods. So basically, starting at 3 a.m., the festivities start. It's basically an all night party slash show entertainment. They have like Gobbler's Knobs Got Talent. They have fireworks at like 6 a.m. It's just music and dancing. It's like a big all night party. People just stand in the cold and embrace it. People literally come from all over the world. There were people there from Australia this year. I saw that someone from Africa. Like, truly, people come from all over, which is crazy. To see a groundhog predict the weather, that's not even accurate. But
I
okay,
don't
so
know. It is looking like
I
spring.
know, I
I think he
know.
was right this year,
Maybe he was
Jensen.
right. Maybe he
There's
was.
something to it.
But the whole town gets like booming and packed for like 1 or 2 days, and it's like crazy, and it's so cool and so fun, and then it goes back to being very, very chill, mild, simple Punxsutawney after. But we went this year because it was on a Friday, and we took Logan's coworker and his wife, and then we took Logan's cousin and her husband. And like I said, it was so fun to like show people Punxsutawney for the first time and like Groundhog Day, and they'd be like, "This is crazy!" Like we had passes, we were able to go like down front, but they were just like, I mean, where else do you have fireworks at 6 in the morning to like the Star Wars soundtrack? Like, no, it doesn't happen anywhere. And Logan's his cousin, her husband, Matt, he like has been obsessed with Groundhog Day like his whole life, basically loved the movie, and like his whole family was always really into it. So he was like geeking out in like the best way, and just like his eyes would get so big, and he was just having so much fun, and it was just a really cool experience. And sometimes I forget how like proud I am of the town that I'm from, even though like it's for basically a made up holiday, but it's really cool to be from a town that's like a holiday that is literally on calendars. So I don't want to take that for granted. So we had such a fun experience. It wasn't that cold. Took them to Punxsy Phil's for breakfast.
A must.
They're like, these pancakes are amazing. And they're like, it's also just so cheap here. I'm like, yes, things are very inexpensive in Punxsutawney compared to Lancaster. But yeah, it was so much fun. And we'll definitely do it again. And maybe we'll kind of Krunchy live from Groundhog Day one year.
You know what? I'm planning to get into my Groundhog Day era of life now. I'm settled here. This is my hometown and I love it. It's just a quaint little town and I'm ready to get into it. Be proud of it.
I told my dad he should join the inner circle.
You know what? I just read an article about it. If for anyone listening that doesn't know, the inner circle is the group of people that oversee the groundhog and pull him out and such activities. And it is 15 people is their max, I think, and it's by invite only.
Yeah.
The club votes to invite
Mm-hmm.
people in, so it's kind of an exclusive little club. But your dad is like such a punksy guy; he would be a perfect fit for that.
I feel like he's even said that someone's like mentioned it to him, but he doesn't want to, and I'm like, I feel like he would thrive. I don't know.
I do too. I think
he
it's
would
a lot
thrive.
of work though.
I
Like
think it is, yeah. And
outside
it is
of Groundhog Day, there's a
Yeah.
lot of work you have to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the groundhog cookies. Even though we were going away, they were out in
So
stores.
good.
The day before we left, they were out and I picked some up and we gobbled them down before we left because I could not miss those.
My mom always makes them, and The dough is honestly the best. I love like groundhog cookie dough
Mm-hmm.
before you bake it. Um, okay, also people, everyone in Punxsutawney is a groundhog cookie cutter. Bet you didn't know that.
Yep.
Because there are groundhog cookies. It's a thing. It's like a molasses cookie, but they just and some I even say they're not even the best cookie ever, but they just like they're nostalgic to Groundhog Day. Like they just hit different February 2nd, and then I'm like, I'm good till the next year.
A little chocolate chip for the eye.
Mm.
When I got married, I was gifted a groundhog cookbook, which is
I have one
the
too.
Punxsy cookbook, along with the groundhog cookie cutter. That wasn't the only thing I received, but it was one of the things I
Yeah.
received.
At my wedding, at our cookie table, we had groundhog cookies.
I love it. Oh, what an ode to Punxsy since you were in
Ugh,
Lancaster. I was at your wedding. I don't particularly remember that, but I'm sure.
I don't either. I saw a picture. I
How
was like, oh
cute.
my gosh, the cookie table looks so nice. I don't even remember seeing it, but it looked really pretty. My mom did a great job. Um, but I guess on the other I give two little life updates. I'll give a little teaser. Some big life changes are coming in my world. No, we're not pregnant, so don't DM me and ask. But just some life changes that I'll report later. And then I'm getting my hair done next week for the first time in like 2 years, and I'm
Wait, me
so
too.
excited. What day are you getting it done?
Friday.
I'm getting it done Wednesday.
Oh,
Oh,
you'll
that would
beat
have been
me then.
crazy.
Maybe I'll cancel my appointment before.
Wait, are you getting anything different done?
Jensen, I'm literally getting a deep condition and blowout. I'm not even getting anything cut, even though it's dead and needs cut. So no, but it's been a while.
I'm thinking I might go back to a little bit of blonde and balayage. I don't know. That's what I'm
Oh,
thinking. I don't know. It's
are you cutting any off?
I don't I was at the gym today and I just looked in the mirror and my ponytail was so long and I was like, "Oh, I love that." But then I'm like, "Oh, it's dead." So, I maybe like an inch or two, but I'm going to be like, "Please don't cut much off if you don't have to."
I'm just a long hair girl, not for everyone else, for myself.
Mhm.
I do not feel like myself if my hair is like shoulder length or higher. Uh, I need length. I just feel, yeah, I don't know. And my hair just like styles better when it's longer. And so now I'm on this journey. That's why I'm not getting any length cut, even though I know they say like, oh, cut some, it makes your hair grow faster. I don't
I
think
think
that's
that's
true.
false. I think it's false.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I think it just
They
like
just want you to get
looks
more
dead.
haircuts.
I am not cutting my hair till it's touching my butt. So that's the journey I'm on now. So
Wow.
I'm investing some years in this at this
That's
point.
like that's like that homesteader like barefoot
Trad
just
wife.
hair down. I like myself actually with short hair, but then I like how I look, but then I get frustrated that I can't do things when it's long. It's like
Yep.
but it's also like so much easier when it's short. I don't know. So I go back and forth, but well, maybe I'll chop it off Wednesday. Who knows? I guess we'll see.
Whoa.
I
Whoa.
don't know.
Well, you are building suspense on this
I
episode,
guys, I
Jensen.
know. Stay tuned. Oh,
That's
that
exciting. I'll be excited to see the results.
yes, I will probably post something about it because. But I think those are. Oh, I guess one more thing I'm doing this weekend. I'm gonna do a Galentine's, which did you
Me
have a Galentine?
too.
Oh wait,
I'm going to one tomorrow.
wow. I'm going to one Sunday. It's like we're like living the same life, just kind of different. I'm
We
so
always
excited for
have
it.
been.
And it's a brunch. It's actually for Pure Bar, so it's like our Pure Bar
Oh,
Galentine's. And I was just looking at like the menu that people are bringing, and it's just all like fun, savory and sweet things. I'm making a coffee cake. I just love Galentine's. I love wearing pink and red. I love brunch. I love girl time. Like I'm here
so
for it.
fun. I literally just today, ours is we're doing a book exchange, a book that you've read and you're happy to part with. You wrap it and then we randomly exchange.
So cute. I love that.
Yeah. And then it's breakfast things. And they're like cinnamon rolls, but without cinnamon. It's like a raspberry filling. They're raspberry rolls and they're in the shape of a heart, like the way you roll
Stop.
them. And then they have this cream cheese icing. And I'm just so
Please
excited.
take a picture of those. I want to see those. They sound so cute.
I will have to send a picture to
Yes.
you. But
Oh,
yeah.
so fun. That's all I have, I think. Do you have anything else we want to share before we get into it?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Well, here's the actual content you came on for, or maybe you came on for the life updates. I'm not sure, but
Maybe.
here's the meat of the episode.
So we are talking about inflammation today. I think for a while we always talk about inflammation being a root cause of like disease and ailments and just all the problems in your life, like inflammation. Seed
Probably.
oils and inflammation, which seed oils cause inflammation. So,
Yep.
um, and so we were like, we finally need to just do an episode about inflammation in general, specific to it, like things that are signs you might have it, what could be underlying or cause it, and then ways to just reduce general inflammation. So that's what we're going to chat about today.
Yeah. Um, Kind of getting into like what inflammation is. I feel like it is like a very like hot topic thing you hear all over the place. Like reduce inflammation, do this to reduce inflammation. Basically, when your body activates your immune system, it sends out inflammatory cells, and they are sent out to like protect your body, whether it's like attacking bacteria or heal like a damaged tissue. Um, and when your body's sending out inflammatory cells when you're not sick or injured, that's more the chronic inflammation. So the first thing I mentioned was like they call it acute inflammation, which is like the healing inflammation. Like you're sick, your body sends out cells, it heals you. It's more of a quick, few days a week. But the chronic inflammation is where you hear a lot of people saying that's causing the disease, that's causing their gut issues, that's causing their skin issues. When it's just time and time over and over again, your body it's just not responding, or it is responding, but it's causing these things.
Yeah, that was a great little rundown. I was actually watching a video last night about cells' response to injuries and diseases in our body. And it was what am I trying to say? Animated. And
Okay.
so it was like basically for kids, but it made it
Mhm.
really easy to explain, which I have such an interest in anatomy and physiology.
Yes.
So I just watch these things for fun sometimes, even though I have the knowledge. And I liked the way they explained it, like with all these little warrior cells coming, and that's why there's
Aw.
inflammation, because there's a little war happening. And I just love when people describe it like that. So thanks for that rundown. That was a good little synopsis, Jensen. You did that
Yeah, of
perfect.
course. Yeah, it's so interesting. I think people think that inflammation is like always bad, and it's like the short term is like really good. It's like when you have an infection or an injury, like that's how your body heals, which we've said it time and time again before. But the body is just so intricate and amazing, and how like
Hmm.
your body wants to heal. Like your body does not want to stay in a state of hurt or pain or injury. Um, so it's really cool that like it is like inflammation can be a good thing, but then it's that long term chronic inflammation that can cause all the bad things, which we're gonna get into.
Yeah, because like when you cut your finger and it gets a little inflamed and tender, like immediately, that's a good sign that your body's doing what it's supposed to. But when
Yeah.
that continues for a long time, that's a bad sign, because then there's potential infection, which means
Hmm.
your body didn't do what it was supposed to. Or if you have
Hmm.
chronic inflammation somewhere else, it might mean other things in your body aren't working right.
Yeah.
And it's putting stress on your body. And how do you help support your body so you're not under chronic inflammation that can cause disease or whatever other ailments? So,
Absolutely.
yeah, let's talk a little bit about signs you might have of chronic inflammation.
Yes. I can start out with one. So,
Okay.
any rashes or skin conditions, which the reason I wrote that one down, I'm saying it, I have like this like little rash on my arm. Don't know what the issue is, but I know that it's something internal. I think we think like, and I feel like we were always taught with like acne or eczema or different things like to just like put a cream on it or rub it and like, or put something on it. And yes, that
Hmm.
might help, but like there is something internal that's happening, like the outward appearance of what's happening to your skin, like or your hair or your nails, like that is something inward. So if you're having some kind of rash, skin condition, acne, like I would look inward first because there's probably something inflamed inside.
Yeah, that's absolutely, I mean, right. I think any types of gut issues
Hmm.
can also be a sign you have inflammation. When your gut is working well and fine, um, it's not inflamed. But when you're having gut issues, a lot of times that means that those intestines, any part of your gut, maybe is experiencing inflammation. And so um, that might be something you want to target in tandem with trying to heal your gut, is trying to reduce your inflammation to overall help your body. Because if your gut's having issues and it's potentially inflamed, that could mean other places in your body are inflamed as well.
It all begins in the gut. Go listen to our gut
Everything
health
comes back to
episode.
the gut,
It
right?
really does. Some other like small signs can be that, they're little things, but if you're constantly having these issues, I would say I would look into it. If you're feeling bloated all the time, if you have headaches, mood
Mhm.
swings, brain fog, you're constantly tired, having fatigue. Like, once in a while to have these things, I think it's like just, we go through ebbs and flows, highs and lows of life. Sometimes we have a headache, sometimes we are a little tired. But like, if it's a constant daily battle for you, I again would look into what is actually causing it.
Yeah, and in our brain, our dopamine system is directly affected by chronic inflammation in our body. So if you have chronic inflammation, you could be more likely to have um, troubles with mental disorders or any type of like decision making, motivation, maybe anxiety, like brain fog, like you said. It can kind of all lead into that because that dopamine system is so linked to chronic inflammation affecting it. So those can be, if you have issues with that stuff, it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, you have inflammation. But something that I always practice is like, if I have anything happening in my body abnormal, I kind of try to, in tandem with whatever I'm doing to try to heal that, reduce inflammation because inflammation's almost always like at the root of a lot of these things
Mhm.
or complementary to them happening at the same time. So it's always something good to try to kind of tackle that chronic inflammation when you have anything going on in your body.
Absolutely. We're always about getting to the root cause. The only other two I'll
Hmm.
add is chronic pain. If you're constantly in pain, or if your joints are inflamed, or you just feel like your face is like really inflamed or looks puffy, like inflammation might be your issue. So I guess those are probably the last ones I have. Do you have any more, Rachel?
No, I think we should talk about, when you notice you might have inflammation or you just feel I feel like you can feel it when you're inflamed. Like
Just feel like
most
heavy.
yeah, it's kind of like that bloated feeling except not gut specific. Like you
Yeah.
just feel like oh, like
Yeah.
you can tell. And so do we want to talk about what are potential things that could be underlying causing chronic inflammation? And
Hmm.
these don't necessarily like if you have inflammation, it doesn't mean you have every single one of these things or that this is causing it. But if you are struggling with chronic inflammation and you've noticed that and been able to pinpoint that, these are things that maybe you want to get tested for or look a little more into and say, like, do I potentially have like symptoms and signs that maybe one of these are the underlying like root cause of my inflammation?
Hmm.
So I'll start with a first one of these Lyme's disease.
Hmm.
So that is something that's really common here in PA, I know, to end up with. It's transmitted through a bite from a tick, and the ticks are always bad here in the spring and
They're
fall
coming out now.
and summer now, it seems like. Um, and so Lyme's disease is kind of hard to detect. I feel like people are getting better at like recognizing signs of it and going and pursuing treatment, but it definitely can cause. I mean, it causes a plethora of different issues in the body, but one of them can be chronic inflammation and just that like I mean, it comes with grogginess and like joint pain and everything, but inflammation is really a big thing that happens with Lyme disease. I had Lyme's disease when I was in high school, and my main symptom was my fingers hurt like
Oh.
so badly to write, to play piano, to do anything. And my mom had thought it was just overuse, and she's a nurse, so this is funny. She was like, "Well, you just text too much and you play the violin and piano and you're writing in school and typing." And so I think that maybe you just have like potential early onset carpal tunnel or something like that. So she got me braces like for my hands to help with that and
Aw.
was trying to help in that way. Well, eventually we ended up going to the doctor and I had Lyme disease. And it was actually because of the inflammation in my body, it was causing such joint pain. And for some reason, it was in my hands and fingers. And thankfully, I was able to be treated for that and move past it. But yeah, inflammation and Lyme disease are like hand in hand.
Yeah. It's crazy. I've learned, feel like I've talked to people that have Lymes, and it's crazy how some can be so mild and some can be terrible.
Chronic for years.
I'm
Yeah.
glad yours is not terrible. I mean, it wasn't fun before, but I'm glad you're good
Yeah, I took an antibiotic and it like wiped it out of me, and I am thankful for that
now.
antibiotic doing that because I've not had to live with chronic Lymes, and I know for some people they do, and it can be really life altering.
That's why we say we're not we're not against medicine. We're always trying to find the natural cause, but when you need it, you need it. One thing I'll say is a lot of autoimmune diseases. And I was just doing some research, and one is Crohn's disease, which Logan has Crohn's, so immediately it stuck out to me. But it's just so interesting when you look at like, oh, how do you treat Crohn's? Like, eat an anti-inflammatory diet. Like, it's crazy how like when looking at treating the disease, yes, they want you to like take medication, but also like living a lifestyle that, which we'll get to, that can lower your inflammation. So on top of Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, rheumatoid arthritis, asthma, the list goes on. But there's a lot of like autoimmune diseases that comes down to inflammation in the end.
Yeah, I think just from some of the ones you were naming, something that goes with that is a lot of diseases have itis attached to the end of the word, which
Mhm.
itis basically means inflammation of that part of the body. So,
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
yeah,
cool.
so like you have appendicitis, diverticulitis,
Oh.
meningitis, and so all those things have some type of inflammation that is contributing to them. And so yeah, when with naming words and using, what's it called? Is it a suffix? Would that be the itis
Yeah,
to put
because a
on the end?
prefix is the beginning, so suffix would be the end. Yeah.
And so medically, that means essentially inflammation of that part of the body. So when you hear any kind of disease that has an itis on the end, maybe look for inflammation and seeing how you can work on that as well.
Love that. I did not know that. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Um, One thing that just kind of going into like the whole like fertility thing, and this is something I don't think I have, but it can be very silent in a lot of people, is endometriosis. And they say that one of the big things with that is like inflammation, and how like that causes it to spread like crazy. So not saying, you have endometriosis, it doesn't mean they're always correlated, but I know from a lot of girls that I follow on Instagram that like have endo, that like they really focus on like lowering inflammation as much as they can, just because it like drives it or helps, it makes basically endometriosis grow the more your body's inflamed, which that's mostly the case for lots of things. Inflammation just pushes disease to grow because your body's in that
Yeah.
inflamed state and it can't fight off things like it should.
Yeah. I mean, I would say inflammation's the root cause of chronic disease in a lot of cases
Mm-hmm.
because too much for too long, whether it's from your food you eat or your gut or just your body in general, not working the way it's supposed to. Too much for too long is not a good thing when it's chronic inflammation. The last thing I would say is mold exposure. Now, this is something I have not explored that much in the Krunchy world. I feel like a lot of people are really into testing their homes for mold exposure and trying to detox or find ways to um, help if they've been exposed to mold. And it can definitely be very uh, bad for your health to be exposed to mold. And that also goes hand in hand with inflammation. That mold exposure is going to cause unexplained inflammation in your body. So that's always something to check for too. If you are experiencing chronic inflammation, it's kind of unexplained, you are like very healthy and you're working on these things and you don't know what to do about it. That might be like an underlying thing that you haven't even thought of or looked into. Is there mold in your house that you don't know, that's hidden, that's causing any type of inflammation or ailments to you?
I just saw this one girl I follow on Instagram. She did like that, you order like a kit and basically you like put the different
Yeah.
things in different rooms of your house. And most of our rooms were like pretty good. And like it just had a few little dots, which I guess is like normal. But then her husband or fiance's car, she had one
I
in there.
follow the
And
same girl. I know
yeah,
exactly who
and
you're talking
yes, yeah. I think you introduced me to her, and her husband or whoever's car was like insane. Which like I wouldn't even think about that. Like, but we spend a lot of time in our car.
Yeah. And she was saying she thought it might be from the Christmas tree they got and put in the back seat because
Oh yeah,
Christmas trees can harbor a lot of mold and that can be a cause of mold exposure.
wild.
The more you know.
The more you know. I think yeah, that was a. Do we want to go on to things that can cause inflammation, like certain things we do?
Yeah, sure. I'll start with a quick and easy one that maybe you can resolve today. Is something that can cause inflammation is eating before bed. because your body's not able to digest and process as easily through the night as it is during the day. You're kind of stagnant. And so that can cause that overall bloated, inflamed response in your body. So trying to avoid eating, I don't know, like stop 2 hours maybe before bed so that you're able to digest it while you're awake and up and moving can just help your body with like reducing some minimal inflammation that you might be experiencing.
No, absolutely. And it makes sense because I feel like when you eat right before bed, you just don't sleep the best or don't feel the greatest when you wake
Mm-hmm.
up either. Kind of going off the food, I'm going to name things here that I feel like we've talked about in other areas, but it's kind of the same thing. Like these things are not great for your health in general. Processed meats, added sugars, highly processed food, refined carbs. People say red meat. I don't believe in that. And I mean, I believe everything in moderation, but if you're eating McDonald's hamburgers all the time, there's probably some inflammatory oils within that. But if you have like a grass fed cow or you're eating good quality meat, like I believe there are a lot of health benefits to meat, red meat specifically. Um, but again, it's we always say just like you can keep things in moderation. Like, yeah, if you're eating red meat for every meal of the day, it might inflame your body. But if you're
Carnivore
having like,
diet, Jensen.
yeah, yeah, which
It
some
works
people
for some
it,
people.
it
Your
going
body
off.
is unique. So,
Yes,
yes.
you literally took the thing I have written down after this is every body is different. Like milk might inflame the crap out of you, someone else it might not. That's kind of the hard thing about inflammation too, is like you
Mm-hmm.
have to kind of pay attention to your own body because like you might, and maybe after having kids this makes your body inflamed. Like our bodies are always changing, so it's just like being in tune with like, oh, I did this, I didn't feel great after. I ate this, I didn't feel good after. Because if you google, because like honestly, if you google like what's causing my inflammation, like yeah, there are things that typically do cause it for some people, but some people it's like random things that you would never even think. So it's just like being in tune with your body and knowing that your body is different than everyone else's.
Ugh, I love that. I 1,000% just that's truth. Everybody's body is different.
Hmm.
You have to be your own doctor in some sense of
Yeah.
you know your body better than anyone
Hmm.
else and you need to be conscientious of like how is my body when it's normal? What is my normal? What's not normal for me? How's it working? And so you have to take a little bit of autonomy and advocate for yourself and your body and know what it needs, what it likes, what it doesn't like. Um,
Hmm.
Something else in that food realm would be spiking your glucose by eating food out of the wrong order. Or we've talked about glucose before. Things like drinking coffee before breakfast or on an empty stomach can spike your glucose. Spiking your glucose can lead to inflammation because your body's kind of just in that state
Hmm.
internally and mentally and in all ways. So eating your food in a particular order can help with this. I mean, I'm not always 1,000% on this, but when you can help it, it just kind of helps that gut inflammation and overall body inflammation. So veggie first, then your protein, then your carbs and sugar. It helps your body to digest those foods better and use
Hmm.
them for what they're needed for in your body as opposed to just like shocking them with these glucose spikes.
Yeah. Very well said. I'm going to steal one of yours. Over exercising can cause inflammation or not moving your body at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, it's finding that balance. I know for me, like, there's been times where I've like really been hitting the gym hard and I like look in the mirror and I'm like, I feel just like puffy and like not great and my body doesn't feel the best. And it's because I think my body's like, Jensen, maybe we could use a little more sleep some nights. So I feel like I've actually gotten better at like, I work out, but I don't like work out crazy and I give my body the rest it needs and like you feel better, you look better. Like you just have to give your body what it needs. And again, it's also again not just like being a couch potato all the time. We need to be moving our bodies and whether that's just a walk, whether that's doing housework, like just making sure that you're moving your body but also not over moving your body.
Absolutely. The last thing I have on my list is not flossing can cause inflammation.
That's a good one.
Your mouth is the gateway to your body. Like that's
Mhm.
the biggest way things are entering in. And inflammation in the gums leads to inflammation in the body. Gum disease is linked to heart disease. That's not just coincidental. There's connection there. There's causation there a lot of times. So keeping those gums nice and clean, do a little good floss, really optimize your oral care. We've done oral health episode. Go listen to that. That is going to help you optimize that oral health so that you don't have gum inflammation, gingivitis, or whatever it may be leading to other inflammation in your body.
So good. Do we want to go on to things you can do to help inflammation? Because like we said, we always do this. We always give you all the negatives and we're like, but here's how you can actually help yourself, help your family. Here are actual practical tips to fight off this
Yes.
bad inflammation.
Some tangible ways that you can put into practice an anti-inflammation lifestyle. So, we have a long list here. So I guess I'll start off with one, which is, I mean, obviously this is going to be on the list, is just the processed foods, the sugar, the seed oils, the junk food, just those are going to cause inflammation. So reducing or taking those out of your diet as much as possible is going to help your body to thrive and not be chronically inflamed. There are so many people living in our country right now that are chronically inflamed because of their dietary choices, because they are constantly consuming sugar and seed oils and things that are ultra processed, and they are not getting real nutrients from real food. And instead, they're getting these inflammatory foods that are made up of chemicals that are just causing their bodies to feel awful all the time. And so, attacking that in your diet is so vital for reducing chronic inflammation and reducing disease, because the chronic inflammation from that leads to disease. So, the diet, it's such a big one.
Yes, and going off of that, you're cutting out all those things, but making sure you're eating more colors. Like, how can you add more color into your diet? How can you get more antioxidants in? Vitamin C foods are so rich in antioxidants, which can help fight inflammation. Like Rachel said, just whole foods in general. Like, if you can choose to have a whole food versus something processed, like, you're not going to do that every single time, but like making an effort to making sure that that is what you're mostly filling your plate with, um, because food is vital. And also, I'm taking this one off the list, cooking at home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know, you don't know what they use at restaurants. I'm sure they're not using
Every
grass-fed
time I eat
butter.
at a restaurant, I'm like, I know I'm getting seed oils. Like, I'm
Yeah,
just sure of it. And I'm not going to be like,
yeah,
will you please cook mine with this Kerrygold butter I brought on my
yeah,
own? But like, it's just like, I know. So I'd rather cook at home because I
yeah,
know it's going to be healthier because I'm using real oils to cook it and real food that I'm cooking.
yeah. Logan and I were talking about, like, I don't even know if we're gonna go out to dinner for Valentine's Day because it's just crazy. And he's away. Then we have our youth retreat and
Mm-hmm.
all these things, and he has his exam, et cetera, et cetera. But I was like, why don't we just like make steaks at home?
That's
Like,
what we're doing.
ah, wow, on the same page again. But I'm like, we have steaks in our freezer. We can have a healthy, delicious
Exactly.
meal. We could just stay at home. So yeah, whenever you can. And honestly, I've been like in my cooking era, Rachel. I never really share this. I just feel like I'm
Wow.
just trying so many new recipes, and Logan is just loving them. And not like I'm patting myself on the back, but like, I mean, I'm literally following a recipe off the internet, but just trying so many different things and like really seasoning things and really like using like onions and things for like flavor. Like, it's, and then we went out to dinner recently and he was like, you made a better roast than they did. And I was like, thank you. And it's cool because it's like, you know what's going into it. You can make it so much more nutritious and you save a crap ton of money. There's my tangent.
I know, I'm such a big cooking at home person. And it's really like once you start to get it under your belt, these things that you think are hard are not that hard. Like, I made mashed potatoes the other night. I don't use gravy packets. I make gravy homemade and I know what ingredients are in it. And it's only a
Mm-hmm.
handful of ingredients and it tastes better than any type of gravy packet.
Mm-hmm.
Or like beans. You get beans in a can and they're just like beans with no flavor. You
Mm-hmm.
can buy a bag of beans that'll get you like so many meals for like less than $1. Soak them and season them and cook them in bone broth really good and add in
Mm-hmm.
some meat. And it's like a whole meal that's nutritious and dense and full of protein. And it's like these things seem complex, but it's actually like once you get it, there's just some few basic things cooking and you can
Yeah,
make so much healthier things.
you can.
And I'm also like eating the whole food over any type of processed food, even if it's a health food, is so important. Like getting your protein from something like chicken or beef over a protein powder or protein bar. And I'm not saying those things aren't good, but I'm just saying, like, when you're able to get it from the most natural source that it naturally occurs in, rather than something that had to be created in a factory or lab or processed in some way. Like the chicken was processed, especially if you get it from a local farmer, in that it was raised and then it was killed and then it's in your freezer. Hopefully, if you're able to get meat like
Mhm.
that, that's ideal. Whereas like that protein bar goes through how many processes to extract the protein from wherever it's coming from, to put it into something else, to add these flavorings and colorings and natural whatevers, and then compact it in a bar and ship it from wherever. Just like getting it from that chicken's a better source.
I was at a restaurant recently out here and they had where they got their meat from, which I thought was really
I
cool.
love that.
I was like, that's
The
amazing. Like it just like I love the
transparency.
whole just yeah, like and it's cool that they're supporting local farmers, but I'm like, "Oh, this chicken didn't come from like halfway across the country."
Yeah. Do we want to talk about a few things that you can incorporate in your diet to help reduce inflammation then? Because I feel like I have a lot of those on my list.
Yes. And I'm going to steal some from your list
Go
as
ahead.
well. Um there are so many good like herbs and teas, whether that's turmeric, peppermint, green tea, black tea, ginger. You know, I was on my ginger tea kick, which I still am. Um, but it's so there's so many things like again, we say like, you know, you're taking away things, but also like focus on what you can add into your diet.
Yeah. I would also add on to that one that focusing on cooling the body in Chinese medicine helps reduce inflammation, because in Chinese medicine, inflammation is linked to the body being hot or having too much heat in it. So then if you have inflammation and you're eating things that are like spicy peppers or hot foods. This is Chinese medicine, which is an
Mhm.
alternative like mindset of medicine. They're saying that you're building on that inflammation and contributing to it versus like combating it with cooling foods. So some of the cooling foods or herbs that you could use are celery, peppermint, leafy greens. Pineapple's a great thing for inflammation, for lowering it just in general. So that's just like a fun tip. And why not try it? If like you're experiencing
Why not? Yeah.
inflammation, you might find that it works really good for you. Um, and then, yeah, you hit on a lot of the other ones that I had for like reducing inflammation type of foods. Now, I do want to say mineralized water and electrolytes are going to help reduce inflammation, because if your body is properly hydrated, it is going to just perform better, feel better, and have less inflammation. And a lot of times our water is stripped of
Mhm.
the minerals that it's supposed to have. So remineralizing that water either with a trace mineral supplement, or getting like real spring water, or putting some real salt. We love the Redmond salt, just to sprinkle of it in there. It's going to help your body actually get hydration from that water, not just pass it through.
I literally just got so tired all of a sudden. I'm just sitting here
Just
like
hit her.
my eyes just started to feel heavy. But Rachel, I wanted you to go into one more or to this next one because you have it on all caps in this list, and I know you're very passionate about it and you are very well versed in it. And I feel like I learn from you when you talk about it. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you can fast to help with inflammation?
Yeah, I am passionate about it. I currently actually have been on a little bit of a diet where I'm trying to promote some healing in my body and just combat any negative things in my body preventatively. And so one of the ways I've been doing that is incorporating fasting. Now, I'm a big advocate of, if you're going to fast, you need to be doing it for the right reasons, have a plan. It has to be intentional and not to lose weight or to diet, because that can put you into a bad headspace or mindset, especially if you have a past with disordered eating or anything like that. Um, Fasting is an amazing tool we have that is free. I'm not going to say easy, because it takes some mental willpower sometimes, but it is a way to give our body a rest, to give our organs a rest, to allow our bodies to process through what's going on inside without inundating them with new information, new food, new things coming in that they have to tackle at that time. It gives it a chance for our body to like step back and be like, okay, Now, what do we do when we don't have all these new things being introduced? And how do we process what's going on in here, try to heal it, try to fix it? So, I mean, there's so much with fasting. I mean, there's so many different ways to fast. Intermittent fasting was a big dieting trend for a while. And as we talked about on here, it can really affect your hormones if you're a female who still has a period, still has a menstrual cycle. That can be a bad thing to do regularly, and you have to be conscientious of your cycle. There's certain times that are better to fast than others. Your follicular and ovulatory phase of your cycle are going to be better times to fast because your body naturally has more energy, needs less calories, and has higher capacity to handle stress versus in your luteal phase or when you're having your menstrual bleed, because your body needs more calories, has less energy, and can't handle stress as well. So just be cognizant of that. Fasting, there are people who will do fasts for a week long. There are people who have done it for a month long. There are people who will just do it for a morning or a day or an afternoon. My personal favorite way to implement fasting, if I'm going to be doing it for very much targeting reducing inflammation, I will plan for a few week period to a month period where I am doing 36-hour fasts a week. Now, this isn't something I regularly do. This is like once every few years if I really am trying to tackle health issue in my body. The 36-hour fasting window has been shown that it allows your body to get to a point where it uses up um, what it has in it, that it has to tap into different fat restores and different restores in your body, and allows those cells to start to work in a different way. So it really is a good time window to allow your body to promote healing and allow your cells to really do what they need to do to be effective in that fast. It sounds harder than it is because essentially it's 8 p.m. one night through the next day till 8 a.m. the next morning. So it's one day of not eating. The night
Oh,
before
that's
you
not
eat
bad.
till 8 p.m., you wake up the next day, don't eat, and then the next morning at 8 a.m., you break that fast. So that gets
Hmm.
you 36 hours. And it's really something you can incorporate. I've found that intermitting, doing 36-hour window and then a day of refueling and eating and really having nutrient dense and purposeful foods, and then going back into that fast helps my body to promote that healing. And I really feel a lot better. I notice, like, I don't know if you've ever fasted, Jensen, or done like a
I
36
haven't.
hour.
No.
I feel incredible. Like, it's just my body. I notice the inflammation in my face, in my body, everywhere. Just the way my joints feel, the way my stomach feels, my brain. Like, I feel so much better. Now, if you're doing an extended fast of like 7 days or a week long, you're going to get to a point where you're like, I'm exhausted. I'm cold. Like, I have no energy because your body really doesn't have anything to run on. But when you're doing short windows of it, you can really see how, like, your body sort of thrives from that and can heal and do those things. So sorry I went on a little tangent on that one, but it is something I'm really passionate about and something worth, if you have any type of inflammation or chronic inflammation, looking into, reading more about, and finding what works for you.
No, I'm glad you went on a tangent. I was hoping you would because I feel like you know a lot about it, and I always learn from you when you talk about it. And one of these days, I'm going to do some sort of fast. I'm really bad at fasting. I just need to get better willpower. So,
Well, no, that's not always it.
oh,
If you're not cognizant of when your cycle is, it's not willpower, it's your body actually having those needs. So
well, I'm still
it's
trying to figure out my cycle. So once I figure it out,
yeah,
maybe then.
it's all about doing it at the right time, in the right way, and fueling your body before the fast and after the fast in the right way. So it's not all just a matter of willpower. There is an art to it. But also, if you don't need to fast, don't do it. You don't just have to
Well,
do it one of these
mine's
days.
more mine's more I want to do it for more spirituality
Mm,
reasons, and
mm-hmm. which can be another
I
awesome.
just need to seek the Lord more during it. So
Every time you get a hunger pain, God, is that you?
it's when you're supposed to pray, and yeah, that's a whole other story. But anyways, so just a few more things we have on our list. Lymphatic support,
Hmm.
dry brushing, so simple. Literally before you get in the shower, buy a dry brush, probably like $5 off Amazon. Dry brush your body. Doesn't need it. You could do it for longer periods of time. I usually am in a hurry, so it's pretty quick. But like every little bit counts. I
Jumping,
wanted.
jumping on a
Okay,
trampoline or just jumping in general helps
I was gonna
lymphatic
say
drainage.
I've been wanting to, I had a little rebounder like in my parents' house, and they probably got it at a garage sale, and I was like,
I love it.
I wish I would have taken it with me and been like, oh, but I don't know if it'd be kind of, I don't know where I'd put it, but yeah, just having a little rebounder, like it's crazy how like kids jumping on a trampoline, like that is so healthy for them. Like it's
Yes.
not just fun, like it's really good for them. And then I would say gentle movement, like just walking, like moving your
Hmm.
body. Like it doesn't have to be high intensity cardio, CrossFit. Again, those things have a time and purpose. Like, incorporating them in once in a while I think is great. But like Rachel, the walking queen, she is the inspiration of walk. She is always out there, and it's great movement for your body, and it's not over inflammatory. It's actually helping fight inflammation.
Yes, yeah. Um, some other ones I have are acupressure. There's a point they say between your pinky and your ring finger that if you push it in with like the tip of a pen instead of using like a needle, it can help with reducing inflammation. There's also other acupressure points that can help with that as well, which Jensen's the queen of acupressure. So
I am.
she
I have my
might know more
mat.
on that. um, Another one I have on here is hot to cold therapy. So we've talked about like doing like a sauna to a cold plunge. Jensen, have you been seeing lately that how inundated social media is with saying that cold plunging is bad now?
Yes. Yes. I've seen it everywhere. It's
Okay.
like cold plunging is bad. And I was like, which,
But wait,
let me
I
just,
kind of agree.
well, I just want to preface though, I want to hear your reasoning behind it. I haven't looked much into it, but that's just, you can't believe everything you read on the internet. And also, like, we are constantly learning. Like, we're probably going to learn one day that, like, the thing we thought was healthy was, I mean, that's how it's happened. The
Yes.
more research we know. But give me your 2 cents. I want to hear
Okay.
why.
So from what I've read, they're just trying to get people to read it by saying cold plunging is bad. But the thing that's happening is people just see that and scroll past. Okay.
Oh,
What I'm seeing people are saying is that it's bad for women during their luteal and menstrual phases of their cycle,
well,
just
yeah.
like fasting or something else. So basically, what they should be saying is just like if you're going to do cold plunging, sync it with your cycle. So you're doing it during the ovulatory and follicular phases when your body can withstand more stress like that because it's going to give you a minor stressor, which is fine. But in certain parts of your menstrual or cycle, that's your body can't withstand that as good. So they're kind of using like little taglines to just mislead what they're actually trying to say, which I don't love. But like the point they're getting to, yeah, I agree. That's fine. Is like if you're cold plunging every day as a woman, yeah, that might be causing your body some additional stress. So just try to cycle sync it if you can. But I'm not cold plunging every day. I'm doing it
Um,
here and there, but that is not a daily practice for me. So
I've been wanting to buy a sauna so badly, and there's like ones off Amazon. They're like $150.
yeah.
And I was speaking to people that actually have these ones off Amazon, and they love them. They're like, it's amazing.
Is it like the sauna bag or is it an actual sauna?
It's like a pop up little tent.
Wow.
Yes, people. There's one was like 150. The other was like 300.
Is it
It's
plastic
the.
though?
It's yeah. Well, it's not like it's like a met. It's almost like a tent,
Okay.
and and you like boil water, and they said it's like
Hmm.
they use it every day. They swear by it. So
Wow.
I know. I'm like, do we invest in one of those? Like I've always wanted to be able to use a sauna, and there's like none that I can use around me. And I know
Yeah.
you said you used the one at the. Then you say
The
someone
spa
got
here.
the spa. Do you know someone that got one too?
Yeah, I do. And they like it and they use it a lot. I'm very like, I'd like to invest in one because it's like
Same.
a couple $1,000, depending on the size you get. And for as much as I use it, that's
Yeah.
like, I will get my money's worth
Oh,
quickly
for
out of that
sure.
compared to what I'm paying for like one time 30-minute use of the
Yeah.
sauna. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'd like to have a real one someday. We're just not there quite yet. not in this house because there's no room for it, quite frankly. But
that's fair.
Yeah. Anyway, tangent again.
It's funny. We started this episode and said, "Oh, it's probably a quick one."
Well, I was like, it's okay. All our episodes are always like over an hour. So it's okay if one's only 30 to 40 minutes, but we can't do it, guys.
This is truly like when we're giving our life updates, they are news to each other. So we're
just
always chatting. I'm trying to think if I have any more. There's just certain like I don't want to push supplements.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Different supplements work differently for people. I know N-acetylcysteine, typically it's called NAC, berberine. I don't want to like make that the main point, because supplements should be targeted for the type of inflammation, what you're dealing with. But just know that like on top of all the other changes, if you're still having issues, like you can supplement to help.
Yes, you said it perfect, because I was just going to add the same little add-on of like, there are supplements that could potentially help, but I would start with the other changes first.
Yes.
I would always start with changing your diet before and taking out or altering before you start adding in more supplements and stuff.
Or the free things like going for a walk and sleeping. Like supplements are expensive.
The most basic human functions, sleep and breathing. Just like, but really, when it comes down to it, doing a little bit better of a job and being more aware of how we're doing things like breathing, sleeping, eating, walking are what's going to make the big changes in the end.
Absolutely. I think that's all I have. Is there anything else you want to say, Rachel?
No, I don't think I have anything else to say about inflammation.
I think we're good, guys. We're gonna call this one a day.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed listening. Thank you for joining us. Like Jensen said, we're coming up on a year here soon. So if you have been listening since the start to us for the whole year, please let us know. Like,
please do.
Thank you. You're our biggest fans, and we love you for being on this journey with us, for chatting with us every week.
You know everything about our lives.
Yes, for real. That's just like, that's been the thing of recording these, is like people are like, I know what's going on in your life, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on in yours. We still need to be friends.
I know.
But
yeah. Thank you guys for being here. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube that you like this video, you subscribe to our channel, because we know some of you do watch on YouTube and you aren't subscribed, so make sure you subscribe. We always love reviews. They make us really happy. So if you want to make us happy, you should leave us a review. And share these episodes with your friends. Spread the love, spread the knowledge. You know, we're gonna 2024, the year kind of Krunchy blows up. We'll see. But you know what? We're gonna dream about it. So, but again, thank you guys so much for being here. We love you all. We hope you are having the best day, and we will see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Remember, although we talk all things health and wellness here, this is not medical advice, and you should always seek out your medical professional for further questions. Thanks again for listening. Please remember to share, comment, and subscribe to help support our podcast.